Can I get a CIS mortgage with bad credit? So a lot of construction workers think that if you've got bad credit, you can forget about ever getting a mortgage. But here's the thing, that's just not true. If you assume bad credit shuts every door, you'll keep renting, lining your landlord's pockets, or stuck living somewhere that doesn't suit your family, when actually there are lenders out there who will listen to your story. In this video, I'm going to show you how one of my clients with old defaults and a CCJ still managed to buy his first home using his CIS income and the key steps that made it possible. I'm David Sharpstone, and I help CIS subcontractors use their CIS income to get a bigger and better home. So let me tell you about Mark. He's a ground worker who came to me after being turned down flat by 2 banks. His credit file shows an old CCJ and a couple of defaults from years back. And as far as he was concerned, that was it. No one would ever touch him. He was ready to give up on buying and just keep renting. But here's the truth. Once I dug into the detail, I saw the CCJ was more than 3 years old, the defaults were for small amounts, and he'd actually saved up a really good deposit. So instead of shutting him down, I knew there were specialist lenders and even some high street banks that would be open to looking at his case. So fast forward a few months, and Mark had the keys to his own home, and the look on his face when he realized it was possible, that was priceless. So now let me break this down into the main things that you need to know if you've got bad credit and you're being paid through the CIS scheme. So point 1 is deposit. The first thing to understand is deposit. The worse your credit history, the more deposit a lender will want. If your credit file shows a lot of recent issues, then you might need 15 or even 20% of the property value. But if the problems are lighter, say just a missed payment here and there, you might only need 5 to 10%, just like anyone else. So having a decent deposit shows the lender that you're serious and reduces their risk. So the second thing is interest rates. Yes, with bad credit, you're likely to pay higher rates at the start, and that's because lenders are taking a bigger risk. But here's the good news. It doesn't mean you're stuck with that rate forever. Bad credit only stays on your file for 6 years. And if you keep your finances clean, from now on, you'll be in a good position to remortgage onto a better deal, hopefully in a couple of years. So think of higher rates as temporary, a stepping stone, rather than a life sentence. So not all bad credit is treated equally. Some lenders actually ignore certain things like small mobile phone defaults. They know that phone companies, well, they hand these out like confetti, and £100 mobile bill from years ago shouldn't stop you owning your own home. So the key is understanding which lenders overlook these smaller issues and which don't. Point 4, high street tolerance for old credit problems. So even some high street lenders, the big names you see every day, will consider applications if your credit problems are old enough. Usually they want CCJs or defaults to be at least 2 or 3 years old, and they'll often ignore them if the amount is under a certain figure, say £500 to £1,000. So even with something serious on your file, time really can be your best friend. Point number 5, explaining your circumstances. So be ready to explain yourself. Mortgage lenders don't just look at numbers, they can look at the whole story. If you can write a clear explanation about why the bad credit happened, it can make a huge difference. Maybe it was illness, a job loss, a relationship breakdown. Well, you know what? Life happens. Or maybe it was simply a disputed bill with a company. Whatever it was, giving the lender the context helps them see you as a real person, not just as a credit score. So if you've got bad credit and you're being paid through CIS, don't write yourself off. There are options out there. And if you found this video helpful, you'll definitely want to check out the one on screen now. It breaks this down even further. Thanks for listening.